Hey gang, you know when some days you just wake up and the day just feels beautiful, it just feels like a beautiful day, can't really explain what that is, but I don't know, it's just like a all around sense of well-being, it just you look around you and you just feel peace. I'm having one of those days today where I feel at peace, I feel peaceful. uh, I just feel, I don't know, I just feel good inside. So I hope you guys, if you haven't had one of those, or if you had one of those and you haven't had one of those in a while, I I pray that the Father gives you one of those peaceful days at the very least. You know, um, and sometimes I feel I even go. I've had so many non-peaceful days in my life that sometimes I feel guilty almost, because I can't erase or negate the reality that is the misfortune of many in this world all around. It's a real factor. A real factor is that there's a lot of folks that have misfortune and and cannot experience what a beautiful day is at the moment. You know, but anyways, I just hope you guys, I hope anywhere, wherever, whenever you're watching this, I hope that the Father grants you not just one, but many, many beautiful days. Um, Today's title is The Company You Keep. I was in my little meditative state with the Father, as I tend to be. And after spending some time with, just like I said, beautiful morning, got up. Uh, a good friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to go have some breakfast? Your wife, my wife." And he goes, "Yeah, let's let's do that. Let's go have some breakfast." And again, after that, my little meditative state, I feel comfortable around these individuals enough to go have breakfast with them. It's so then that's when the Father, the Spirit of the Father started whispering in my ear and giving me things that I could say to you guys, and he gives me titles and everything. The company you keep. So basically, you in the few lessons that the Father has showed me, the few lessons that the Father has shown me, I one of they all revolve around other people. It's just the way it is. It's just how it tends to be. And and one of the few lessons, very important lessons that the Father has taught me has been the importance of you being aware of the company you keep. You know that means the individuals that, oh, it's just pretty birds just flying inside of this little gazebo. It's freaking awesome. A couple ducks looking at me. Sorry, I ADD break. I get distracted. So, one of the very important lessons that the Father has taught me throughout the years uh, is to be aware of the folks that I have around me, the folks that I decide to share my energy and my time with. Um, this has been an ongoing lesson of multiple calibers of understanding, and it's not to say that we have to sit here. Granted, it's part of the process of you sometimes finding some situations where you're like, oh man, I was lied to, or I felt like maybe I spent way too much time entertaining this individual, believing that XYZ or they were or in my favor, and the whole time they were just using me, XYZ, But the reality of it is, as you grow in understanding with the Father, you learn, if your heart is pure and your heart is in the right place, you learn that all things work together for good for those that love Him. So chances are that He allow you to be in that situation for you to grow and to become even more aware of your spiritual surroundings. Because remember, everything derives from the spiritual realm, right? So there's nothing that we experience here on earth, in our physical state of being, that doesn't derive from the spiritual realm. Okay, I'm going to keep reminding you of that, because that's a very important factor of the understanding of these videos. So in that process, he has taught me the very importance of recognizing the signs and recognizing the spirits that function through and around the individuals that you decide or that for whatever circumstance have ended up being part of your circle of function, of daily function or whatnot. And and the reason why this came to me was because, again, today I was having breakfast with folks that I believe that I can entrust to a certain degree with enough peace in my heart to share a morning breakfast XY location, and just have a peaceful time of just sharing a meal together, and just having pure talk, just conversations that come uh, that come from a place of purity, of well-being. It's like, I hope that you're doing good today, and I hope that, oh, how did you like that? Does that work for you? Oh, so what happened at your job? Oh, is that gonna be okay with you? Are you gonna recover from that situation or XYZ, whatever, right? And like, it's just from a place of purity, not uh, from a place of 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 manipulation, not from a place of like, I gotta pretend with this individual and keep this individual thinking and guessing that I really care about him, so that I can get whatever it is that I want to get out of him down the line. Like that type of uh, manipulation is evil, guys. So like that's what I'm talking about. It's like, it's growing into that understanding. It's like, the reality of things is that we are all in our own level, in our own walk, in our own level of understanding, in our own walk with the Father on a personal level. We're all in a stage where we are, and that stage you may have surpassed certain things that certain individuals are still dealing with, but like, and those individuals may have surpassed things that you are still dealing with, and so on and so forth. So like, the key there is to remain humble and have humility in your heart, and understand the true love of Christ, and understand that we're all going towards the same direction. If your heart is in the right place, if your heart is true in front of the Creator, we're all headed in the same direction. But we're just like in different areas right now. So you always have to carry that in your heart as a state of humility. And but in that understanding, that whatever time you spent with even those that you feel at peace enough to have a wholeheartedly a good-hearted time, over breakfast, even those folks may have their limitations down the line, and in a different stage of your growth with the Spirit of the Father, with the Father and where the Father may take you. So you always have to carry that understanding with you, in every stage of growth that you go through with the Spirit of the Father. But there's something to say for folks that have matured enough to a certain degree that you feel like you could. It's like you see enough through them, through your experience and the things that the Father has already showed you, and the discernment and abilities that you have gained with the Spirit of the Father to see through folks when folks are being genuine and when they're not. When they carry uh, truly they carry the Spirit of the Most High, or there's a different spirit working through them, right? So you can still see there's something to say for how valuable that is for you to be able to entrust somebody to that degree of spending time with your family and their family. That means a lot. Now, and the few experiences that I've had and the few lessons that the Father, very important lessons that the Father has taught me throughout my walk with Him in my life, uh, I have came to that point of understanding that he has placed me in places where I have needed to be there to learn certain things uh, that are vital to the purpose that he has for me down the line, and he will create the situation for me to be in the midst of and rub shoulders with in order for me to learn those lessons, you know and and uh and one of those lessons has been that you get to a place of comfort after a while, after the introduction is done, after you've had several breakfasts, with your family and their families, and certain times together, and you share the word or whatever the case may be, family oriented events and things like that of that nature, and you're past that point. It gets to a point where you learn and you come to the realization that these folks are good here, and this at this point here they're all right. They seem all right because they don't feel threatened by you. You don't see them as a threat in any way, shape, or form. But just because they portray themselves to be comfortable around you, and you can share somewhat of a time of purity, in that stage of your relationship, doesn't mean that they may not have deeper, more selfish, insidious agendas and plans that involve utilizing and manipulating you. Okay, and I know I'm jump. Yeah, you know me. I go straight for the jugular. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, that's and it's not to say that you have to. It's not to say that you have to engage in every relationship that you encounter with. It, to begin with, you shouldn't be looking for any relationship. You shouldn't be looking for a savior outside of your creator. Okay, that's where this takes a toll. This takes a toll because, granted, the word does speak. The word does speak. The Father speaks of us unifying and in the body of Christ, and us unifying in the sense of fellowship, uh, towards Him and worshiping Him together. But and I believe in that. And we were created to be social, to socially interact with one another. And as long as we're in the same spirit, and that's His spirit, right? So that's where the problem lies. That's where you getting closer to the Father, for you to have that spiritual discernment that you need to gain, to attain, to get to a point of realizing who's for you and who's not, who's carrying a true spirit of God and who's not. So yes, we are to be social creatures, but the lie and the cycle of failure that we fall into with people, with other folks, and other relationships, ends up being that we are looking for folks, thinking that in that unity we find God, we find Yah, we find our Creator, and then we base our relationship with Yah, with God, based upon the surroundings and the company we keep. And that's already a route for failure, my friend. You have already failed yourself, you know, because you should not go out to the world looking for other folks to see what you can take from them. You should already have enough life, breath of life from the Spirit of the Father Himself in you to be able to partake and be and attach yourself to a group that is doing the same as you are. And this lands in the place where I have learned these lessons, and as a result, I don't really I don't look for folks to hang out with like that. I yearn for it. Everyone yearns to have folks that you can wholeheartedly sit down and have a good spirited time with. Like I care about you. I truly care about your well-being, and I know that you truly care about my well-being. I'm willing to go as far for you and your family as I know that you are willing to go as far with for me and my family. But that under the understanding of what's truly valuable, and that also comes with revelation of the Spirit of the Father. So there are some folks that are extremely devoted on that level, but their principles are not the same. The principles don't align. So if the principles don't align, everything falls apart once again. So that's the problem. That's the problem. The company you keep has a lot to do with the understanding of the Father's principles and living an upright, correct life in building in the kingdom of heaven, building in the kingdom of Yah, of God, versus building in the kingdoms of man. Because you may very well find yourself at some point in time, the Spirit of the Father may very well reveal to you um, that you have spent X amount of time, months, years, whatever, in the midst of folks that seem to have everything together, but in reality, they were always building towards the kingdom of man, the kingdoms of man, and not the kingdoms of Yah, the Father. And they may not may, but will definitely come a time where the root heart condition of these individuals will come completely to light when the walls are closing in, when the resources uh, to diminish, when the world starts falling apart. The true heart intent from the very beginning in the root of that heart intent of these individuals will fully come to fruition. So it is in the best interest of a wise man or woman, of a wise person that walks with the Messiah in spirit and truth. It is in the best interest for you to acquire to get closer to your Messiah. First of all, get closer to your Father, your Creator, in spirit and truth, so that you can attain the discernment, attain the spiritual knowledge that you need in order to recognize these spirits and in the people that operate in the people that you have surrounded yourself around, that you believe will be there for you, like you would be there for them in such a time. So the company you keep, it's not God Himself, unless God is in within them, unless the Father truly is in them. The company you keep is very important because we are all called to worship the Creator. But if we're not all worshiping the Creator, and that's not company I want to keep. So yeah, I don't know if that narrows it down. Um, I'm here in a very under close location. Freaking, I'm here in a pretty place. A pretty place, guys. Little birds flying around. I don't know if you can see them. Probably not. Nice little lake behind me. folks hanging out, having a good time. So yeah, just wanted to come out here and give you guys a little something. You know, the company you keep, it's got a ring to it, right? It sounds nice, you know. It's like I'll be watching my own channel every once in a while, you know, like and I don't want to give myself like fake views, you know, or anything like that. But not like I care about the views, but I do like to watch my the stuff because I learn from it myself. Because in the midst, yeah, the Father might give me stuff to talk about, but in the midst of me talking, He steps in and like and just like lets it loose, and I'm like, yeah, that's all Him. I mean, it's everything is all Him, but like there's some stuff that like, oh, you didn't tell me that to tell folks. It's like, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm saying it now, and I'm like, facts, nice. So bless you guys. I hope you guys are having a great one, or at least you have the understanding of true joy in your heart, in your mind, and no matter what situation you may be in and find yourself in, and keep others in mind. See that I think that's part of being blessed by the Father is that you never forget you never forget the fact that you are very blessed. You know, I have so much gratitude in my heart, guys. I have so much gratitude in my heart and so much. I'm just so grateful, you know, because I understand uh, my carnality. I understand my Adamic nature. You know, I understand that I am not worthy. I understand this, and then I understand the amount of grace that I have been granted. You know, and then I see the misfortune and I see the happenings of the world around me, and I'm like, I'm not worthy of this, Father. You know, I'm not worthy of this. And that's a good place to be because that creates more gratitude in your heart. It creates more gratitude in your heart, and it creates the stage, the fundamentals for you to be able to continue to go out in the world and be more of a blessing because you are so full. It gives you more resilience. It gives you more patience towards others when others slap you in the cheek, you know, because you learn that there's deeper roots behind the pain that people carry, you know, and you see beyond the surface. You're not quick to jump and like and guard yourself because you're still dealing with like fears, that childish fears that you haven't surpassed yourself. You're not quick to jump and punch somebody in the mouth. No, you're quick to like stop and analyze. Wow, this person is hurt. There's pain. I Something happened, and not even to say that it's you, but something happened down the line that has caused this individual to be so uptight and so ready to defend. And you may not even be meaning say something that may trigger something inside of another person that may bring them to that point of feeling the need to protect themselves when all you mean is the best, you know, for them. But that is just a that's just part of the game. That's just the way that things work, you know, and that's okay. And it's up to us, the ones that the salt of the earth, the ones to carry the true light of Christ, to continue to shine that light because darkness can never overcome light. Light, well, a little itty bitty match can overcome the darkness. The darkness can never overcome light. Never. Doesn't matter how much of it there is. It does not have the power. It does not have the ordinance to domain over light. So bless you guys. Have a great one, and I'll catch you on the next one.